We are Group 6, and we will be exploring the relationship between college student athletes and opioid abuse.
Our first message will be illustrating to our target audience how abusing opioids may potentially cost an athlete big opportunities in the future. This message involves a heat-based appeal. This will be a loss frame message because abusing opioids may lead to the loss and the benefit of becoming a professional. The campaign objective we will be fulfilling is activate. This method uses both a heat and light appeal, but we intend on focusing primarily on the heat aspect of the message to persuade the audience in learning our program. Our video will demonstrate its use of activate, with the content being directed towards the audience's emotion. The ELM is peripheral route based. Our second message will be addressing some widely held misconceptions among college student athletes. For example, opioids allow them to cope with course load, stress, and peer pressure. Our message will be both lost and gain framed, and we will be using a light and heat-based appeal through the use of a flyer. The campaign objective we will be fulfilling for this message is advise. This method is used to clarify misconceptions the audience may have in regards to our program. The use of our flyer will demonstrate its use of countering beliefs held by opioid abusers with proven statistics. Continuing from the perspective that our message will motivate student athletes to take action and prevent negative effects of opioid abuse on their body, our message will be using a central route-based ELM.
We would use YouTube as our main channel. We would share a short video of a comparison between a normal life versus opioid abusing life of an athlete. Other platforms we may also use our Instagram and Twitter, as millions of people use them on a daily basis.
For our sources, we chose the Board of Certification for Athletic Trainers and the American Society of Addiction Medicine. The Board of Certification, short for BOC, is the only accredited certification program for athletic trainers, and it is through their research and findings that the guidelines for athletic trainers are set to follow. Some of the BOC research ties into the theme of our intervention. The BOC has found that athletes are at great risk for non-medical prescription opioid use due to stresses specific to the athletic population. These stresses include maintaining a high level of performance, balancing academics with sports, and coping with possible career termination. Due to these stressors, many athletes misuse and abuse pain medication to cope with physical and mental health issues. As a result of these findings, the BOC has made educating athletes of the risk associated with opioid abuse and the harmful effects it can have on the body a priority requirement for athletic trainers. Because athletic trainers play an integral role in the daily lives of an athlete, as well as being the bridge that connects athlete to coach regarding the physical and mental health of an athlete, we feel that the Board of Certification for Athletic Trainers is a source that communicates and identifies well with our segmented audience of college student athletes and coaches. Moving on to our second source, the American Society of Addiction Medicine is a professional medical society representing over 5,500 physicians, clinicians, and associated professionals in the field of addiction medicine. The American Society of Addiction Medicine, short for ASAM, is dedicated to increasing access and improving the quality of addiction treatment, educating physicians in public, and supporting research prevention and promoting the appropriate role for physicians in the care of patients with addiction. We chose the American Society of Addiction as a source that is central to our message and provides medical expertise, making them a credible source. In conclusion, we chose both sources for the credibility and reliability to our target audience. Both sources are comprised of authoritative figures in their respective fields, making them objective sources rather than biased sources, which reaffirms their credibility. Lastly, the Board of Certification for Athletic Trainers and the American Society of Addiction Medicine are both internal sources since our messages were derived from both entities.
The primary audience is San Diego State University student athletes aged 18 to 25. We chose this audience because, according to the National Collegiate Athletic Association, opioid epidemic among male student athletes is becoming a serious problem within the last decade. Most of these athletes do not turn to drugs out of desire, but instead they become unintentionally addicted after trying some painkillers to sustain painful injuries. We chose SDSU student athletes for the sake of availability and proneness to injuries and drug abuse due to the school's intensive attention on sports and attaining high records. Our secondary audience is coaches. Coaches usually push athletes to get back in the game. According to Talbot Recovery, athletes do not get sufficient time to recover from their injuries, and they are pushed so hard to continue playing while having an injury.
For personas, we have Keith, the college athlete. His personal background is that he's a 20-year-old male. He attends San Diego State University. He plays college soccer. For his lifestyle, he's usually found working out, staying on top of his diet, and studying for classes. He's financially pressured to become a pro athlete and pay for bills. He's prone to serious injuries, and his recovery could lead to addictive behavior. He hangs out with athletes and non-athletic friends. He's peer pressured into becoming successful and make his family, friends, and school proud. He also gets invited to many college parties and is prone to peer pressure. For secondary audience, we have Coach Calvin. Coach Calvin is a 35-year-old dad coaching soccer at San Diego State University. He's also a coach for his son's soccer team part-time. He holds a degree in sports science and a minor in kinesiology. As for his lifestyle, he has a close bond with his college soccer team. He's strict making sure his athletes make good grades. He enjoys spending time with his kids, watching professional soccer and movies, and he offers information to programs against drug use. And he also strongly encourages drug testing to his college athletes.
Our first message will be illustrating to our target audience how abusing opioids may potentially cost student athletes big opportunities in the future. We would share a 30-second video of an athlete having a normal life in the beginning and how his life changes completely after abusing opioids. In the next slide, you'll see the PSA video that we have made.
This message will be addressing some misconception of opioid use held by college student athletes. For our source, we'll be using the American Society of Addiction Medicine. We will use their medical expertise and gather data from their website regarding opioid abuse for our primary audience. The channel will be using its print media in the form of a flyer or leaflet. The flyer or leaflet will contain a phrase which will serve as a misconception held by our audience, and underneath it will be a statistics we pull from our source that will contradict the phrase.
We decided to go with the foam design to show how athletes have that camaraderie with their fellow teammates. The content is not final, but this is generally the direction we want to go in. We played around with the leaflet idea to conveniently educate our audience on our source and the statistic we used. This may even mock the experience an athlete can go through when their peers tell them to watch their prescription use. As you can see at the bottom of the leaflet, this message will be endorsed by the American Society of Addiction Medicine. Our Smart Impact goal is to increase awareness of opioid abuse in student athletes attending San Diego State University by 20% by the end of the spring semester in 2019. Our Smart Outcome goal is to reduce opioid abuse among SDSU student athletes and lower the risk of future abuse by 20% while increasing knowledge and awareness about the negative consequences of addiction by the end of spring semester in 2020. As for our outcome evaluation measure, we will be conducting a mental health assessment checkup performed on injured college student athletes attending SDSU who are currently taking opioids for pain management. This will be performed every 4 weeks for each fall and spring semester until 2020. This assessment will test the knowledge of the athletes to see if they truly learned a lot from this program, as well as provide a snapshot of what their life is like post-intervention.